Psychologists, therapists, councillors etc. What are some things people tend to think are normal but should really be checked out? I've been told that homicidal thoughts are normal, but then again my counsellor was arrested for stealing over $500K. Hi, I'm a kid who fell through the cracks. Got diagnosed with dyscalculia when I was a sophomore in high school. Throughout the years, my parents would tell counsellors, psychologists, etc. that something wasn't right and it was more than me being bad at math. It took a really badass teacher I had pushing and advocating for me to get an official diagnosis before anyone did anything. I understand fully that sometimes parents can be a pain in the ass, but please, 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 if a kid is 15/16 of a year old and is stuck at a 5th grade math level, look into it. The need for some parents to speak with their children about adult problems. No, your young child does not need to be aware that you are struggling financially or that daddy slept with the lady next door. The parents that tell their children that they are going to go and speed my car into a tree purposely, kill myself while you are at school, or slit my wrist when I shower tonight, and parents that feel they need their children fixed, as it's the child and not the family unit as the whole that needs support and/or assistance. Just a few recent ones I've heard. Therapist here. If you grew up with or currently are a part of a family where the whole family has to work to keep one or more members of the family in a good mood or appeased, that's not healthy. People are in charge of their own feelings. It is not your job to appease others so that they can emotionally regulate themselves. Disassociating with friends. Current friend of mine is having real struggles emotionally and mentally. We're still talking but he's been distancing himself from other people. We reach breakthroughs every now and then, but it's been difficult. Shadow people. One question we asked was if they ever saw, heard or smelled anything others didn't. This came up more often than you might think. My husband says I smell phantom farts, but I only seem to smell them when I am around him. A good rule of thumb as to whether a behavior or symptom should be checked out is the same we use to determine a diagnosable disorder. If it causes impairment in one or more areas of life, the range of what is normal is huge, but if something keeps you from going to school or work, keeps you from maintaining basic hygiene, from maintaining your friendships, familial relationships, romantic relationships, it's causing impairment and you should seek help. Edits. Wanted to clarify a few things. This is not an exhaustive criteria for diagnosable mental illness. There are many criteria we consider in diagnosing, but the one criteria that is present for all is that it must cause impairment. Enjoyment is also an important aspect of functioning. If you are getting by in your life but are miserable, get help. You don't have to live like that. Serial killers and sociopaths represent a very small percentage of the population and rarely seek help willingly. This was not directed at them. The areas of functioning I listed are general examples pulled from the Western culture where I live and was trained. Different cultures have different values and the norms of your culture should be taken into account. If you are unbothered by your level of functioning in these areas relative to cultural expectations, good for you. Most people considering this advice likely have a sense that something is not where they want it to be in their life and are looking for confirmation that it's bad enough to seek help. If you're not concerned, my advice is not directed at you. No one is saying that being content with having no interpersonal connections is inherently pathological. Also, thanks for the awards and for all the responses. I've really enjoyed reading and responding. What if I'm very high functioning, like I make it to work every day, and have a social life and I'm able to clean up after myself? But I have no purpose. I'm not actually interested in things. I just exist to pay my bills and smile for the audience. It's like I'm just staring at life's clock waiting for my time to be up. I feel like the world is ending, but it's not scary. I'm frustrated it's taking so long. I'm just tired of existing. Is this fine as long as I show up to work and do my laundry? Psychotherapist here. Some things I see regularly that could have been caught earlier before they became a problem. Unhealthy coping mechanisms. For example, drinking to relax frequently or smoking a lot. Even something like promiscuity can be a red flag that a person is trying to avoid dealing with something stressful by distracting themselves. Self-harm. Hitting yourself. Banging your head on things. Burning yourself on purpose. Cutting yourself. etc. All of those things indicate that it's time to talk with a professional. Normal child-teen behaviors that are not actually normal, like running away or getting into fights. Not communicating. When this happens, something is usually wrong, not always, as some folks are quieter than others. But if a child, teen, adult rarely speaks, or if they are silent in the presence of their parent or significant other, it's time to get them to see a professional alone to have their safety assessed. I've seen individuals who are literally shut down due to having been profoundly abused by the people they live with, and one of the main signs of that is silence. I've also seen people in perfectly good homes who cannot communicate due to extreme anxiety, and without professional help it's hard for them to overcome this. Mood swings. When a person's moods change from one extreme to another fairly often, regularly, that is another concerning symptom. Sometimes they are considered eccentric or hormonal, but that sort of thing can be a sign of many problems, from bipolar disorder to post-traumatic stress disorder. There have been a lot of my patients who have been pretty surprised when I've told them, hey, that's anxiety, depression, when they just thought their behaviors were typical for everyone. Constantly being nervous about the safety of your child, not being able to motivate yourself to do things, not being able to calm down, and just thinking about the same thoughts over and over and feeling worried. Other things we can help with: helping to improve communication within your relationships. If you experience these things and more, therapists can help. Let us help you. People normalize abusive behaviors by loved ones all the time. Being able to identify your own personal boundaries and then enforce them with others for your own well-being is, unfortunately, not innate. Self-sabotaging behavior can ruin your life quickly. If you have an event in your life that has affected you negatively and you seem to find yourself exhibiting irrational or incongruent behaviors, see a counselor. You don't have to have any certain pathology to seek mental wellness counseling. The attitudes of their parents. No, really. There are a lot of bad things that current parents do that are just seen as normal, when they're not, and they have long-lasting psychological effects from emotional damage. I'm curious how much procrastinating and/or lack of motivation to do stuff is normal, and how much isn't. From what my therapist told me, if you would simply rather be doing other stuff, that's perfectly normal. But if you absolutely could not bring yourself to do homework, there's something wrong. I used to have severe anxiety attacks about homework, to the point where when I needed to do it, I'd either be completely drained and go to sleep regardless of time of day, or have a huge breakdown. Inability to regulate your own emotions. Also, negative self-talk. We talk to ourselves way worse than any person could. Thinking that 5 hours of sleep per night is okay. Rapid weight gain or loss with no obvious medical cause. Relationship problems. Don't get me started.